99 FM, Sibo in the morning. And of course, it's that time where we give you a royal hustler who is just so formidable. And today we have one who is just that. Gavin Frey, regional head of the Allan Gray Orbis Foundation for Namibia, Botswana and Eswatini. So he is an accomplished business professional, currently serving as the regional head of the Allan Gray Orbis Foundation, like I said, for Namibia, Botswana and Eswatini. So that block is all his. He is a chartered accountant and a holder of an MBA from the University of Stellenbosch. Gavin's professional journey actually spans across various sectors within the financial service industry. So he has really done the grunt work in terms of that. He gained invaluable experience in audit, in tax, in asset management, in corporate and investment banking. And sir, well, we are very excited to have you in studio. So good morning to you.
Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here today.
Indeed. So let's just talk about Gavin, the man. Tell us about your background, where you grew up and who you are.
Yes, it's an interesting one. Thank you for that question. I am the second eldest of 5 siblings, and we are from Rehoboth. But shortly after independence, as with a couple of those families, my parents decided to move to Windhoek to seek out this new Namibian dream, and to live there, as it were. And I must admit, my dad was a security guard, and my mom was a stay-at-home mother. And so I come from a very humble background.
Indeed.
And I attended primary school at the Van Ryn Primary School and high school at Jan Moore, so all in the public space. But I always had bigger dreams for myself than, from where we come from. And the narrative, especially coming from pre-independence Namibia, that was especially on people of color. And that was really sort of the summary of the first part of my life. And I realized, knowing that I want more and I've got bigger dreams, the question was always, how am I going to get that? And,
Indeed.
And for me, is that I knew that being one of 5 siblings, and not really having money to get you, further than high school, I had to work harder and come up with some other plans. And that's sort of been my journey, right up to the end of high school.
Very interesting. Like you said, really humble beginnings. And already as a child, that I'm coming from a big family. And, as they say, money doesn't grow on trees. So how was it for you just mentally being able to basically just pull yourself up by the bootstraps?
Yeah. That, I believe, was the inflection point for me really in my life.
Yeah.
The fact that I had to make sure that my thinking was in the right space.
Yes.
Right. So despite what you see around yourself, that you look within yourself and trust in yourself and believe that you're actually worthy of a journey that is bigger than yourself. And that, coupled with unparalleled hard work, managed to land me opportunities that really changed the discourse of my life. I think it's very important to mention that entities such as PricewaterhouseCoopers gave me a bursary.
I see.
And that was a catalyst for me to be able to embark on an undergrad degree. After that, I was fortunate to get a German government scholarship from the DAAD through Tucson, and that allowed me to, attend my postgrad studies. And all of that culminated in my professional qualification as a CA. Yeah.
And I'm sure, the road wasn't paved with gold for now I have all of these bursaries and I have all of these things. When challenges or failures would come up, how were you able to handle them?
Yes, so, pains and struggles are part of life. And it's really when the water rises high or when you hit a brick wall that you need to look within, and that you actually need to learn and keep that positive mindset that enables you to not allow it to wash over yourself, but to allow you to actually ride that wave and find ways to climb that mountain. So that when you get to the top and you see everything that you've accomplished, you realize that, it's not really just for yourself, but it's about finally getting to the top and being able to see, that new perspective and this new life that you've created through this positive thinking. And that really was, I think, the just and the secret sauce, together with prayer, obviously, lots of that. To get me to where I am today.
And speaking of, that inspiration that just, keeps you motivated, what is that mantra that you would say Gavin really lives by?
I think one, for me specifically, I've got a couple, but the one that stands out for me, and I think that is an espoused value of mine, would be that the quality of your thoughts, they determine the quality of your life ultimately.
Wow.
Yeah.
And speaking of, the quality of your life right now, you have such a demanding and challenging role. How are you able to keep yourself motivated and keep yourself just informed and just have that positive mindset?
I'm very blessed to be married to a wife that's very supportive, Eloise.
Yeah.
And she has given me two beautiful boys, Kieran and Creighton.
Yeah.
And I must admit, we're quite a practical family, and we do lots of fun things outside. They like riding their bikes and just spending time with nature, and that really rejuvenates me, and all of this I do for the legacy that I built for them, and to leave that lasting impression for them so that they can hopefully one day continue what I've started.
Now, before we go to Flo, I just want to know, what is your favorite thing about being a husband and a father?
My favorite thing would be to actively engage with my family. So my boys, we have a session every night, what we call CMA time. So CMA actually stands for Cold Monster Attack. And you can imagine who that monster is. And they got to find ways to beat this. So last night I actually lost. My wife asked me, why are you so out of breath?
Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah, so that's what sort of keeps me going, and that's what I love the best about being a father and a dad. Yeah,
I love that. Gavin Gray, our royal hustler, we're going to touch base with him in a little bit to talk about the foundation and how the opportunities that they can afford you. But for now, the three of us with Flo. Saying three of us, still with our royal hustler Gavin Gray, who is the regional head of the Allan Gray Orbis Foundation for Namibia, Botswana and Eswatini. Now, the thing about this role is that at the foundation, its mission is to really empower aspiring entrepreneurs. They want to spearhead the next group of change makers, and really through his leadership, he fosters an environment that nurtures and supports young talent, facilitating their growth and development as future business leaders. And I know we were just talking off air now that there is a camp coming, but it's coming under the ambit of the fellowship opportunity for Namibians at Allan Gray Orbis Foundation. Talk to us a little bit about that.
That's correct. So the flagship program that we have at the Orbis Foundation is the fellowship. That's also the entry ticket into joining the Allan Gray Orbis Foundation. I've had that question lots of times. And there's a whole scientific process behind that. There's the application form that you need to complete, either a hard copy or online. It closes on the 4th of August. And I think it's important to mention that the Allan Gray Orbis Foundation forms part of the bigger Allan and Jill Gray Philanthropies, which is a global organization that wants to motivate and instill skills to ensure that we have high impact entrepreneurs once they've gone through our program. But the beauty of this and how it resonates with my career as well is that it's entrenched in education. So we give you a fellowship, a scholarship for 4 years. And what's unique about this opportunity is that it's coupled with leadership training and also entrepreneurial training. Yeah. And very similar to our investment philosophy in the asset management business, Allan Gray, we take a long-term view and we journey with all of these individuals. We say that once you come back to your country, you don't even have to work it back to us. This is part of our CSR that we do for the community. So this is all free. but we at least expect you to make a contribution back to the community where you're coming from. So that really is the intention.
So for those that want to be part of the fellowship, what would be the requirements for that?
So at the moment, the applications are open for grade 12 AS level students. The detailed requirements are on the website. So you can log on to www.allangray.orbis.foundation.org. Or you can just do a Google search. It's quite a long name. Just search for the Allan Gray Orbis Foundation, Namibia. And there you'll get all of the information that you need to qualify for the fellowship. We will invite the shortlisted candidates to an interview. There'll also be a fun-filled camp where you test various attributes. And from that process, we will award 5 new scholarships for 2024 that will bring the total number of scholarships for Namibian students to about 20 in total.
Now, Gavin, the entrepreneurial journey is not one that is, for the faint-hearted, really. And starting a business is easy, but sustaining it is a completely other thing altogether. And you're fortunate to be working with Namibia, Botswana, and Eswatini and that regional block. So what would you say to young entrepreneurs that are starting up right now to look out for? What are those, not even minefields per se, but this is what that secret sauce that you talked about earlier, what is the secret sauce to success within this ecosystem?
Yes, you're spot on. Being an entrepreneur eventually doesn't sit in anybody's pants. It always reminds me about this quote of Greg McKeown in his book Essentialism, where he says that growth has nothing to do with the acquisition of more. So you have all of the answers within yourself. And as an entrepreneur, you'll be faced with uncertainties day in and out. Yeah. But it's having that long-term vision and wanting to make that impact for yourself, your family, and the community, and ultimately the country where you find yourself, that should keep you going. And that for me would be the sort of the secret sauce that I've seen that helps to get individuals through and to make sure that they become the success that they envision for themselves.
Now you have such an exciting role because you're always on the move, always innovating. But what would you say you particularly love about your role and why?
Yeah, so because this job is fulfilling in the sense that I get to work with people, it's amazing for me to see raw talent from the point that we identify them as they grow and mature through the process, and seeing them become the successful people that, and realizing those dreams, personal dreams that they had for themselves. So the sense of fulfillment that I get from that, I would say, is what makes me get up in the morning and continue with this journey that I'm on.
And what is next for Gavin, speaking of the journey? Because some might just feel like, okay, no, Gavin has done it all, but there's still more to do.
Yes. So, with this, I firmly believe in the value of openness. So that's something that I espouse. If you had asked me that question 5 years ago, I would not have been able to tell you this is what I do today. So yes, we must have a sense of direction, but I believe if we remain to be committed to be the best selves every day, when the opportunity arises, it will mean that there will be an intersection of all of the hard work that you've done, and to capitalize on that opportunity whenever it then arises in the future. And I always say, wherever life takes me, I'm open to that, and to make sure that, I don't sort of force my future, but I go with where the bigger plan that was orchestrated, as it is for each one of us, will ultimately take me.
Indeed. Thank you, Gavin, for coming. And we really appreciate you stopping by.
Thank you for having me.
That was our royal hustler this morning, Gavin Frey, who is the regional head of Allan Gray Orbis Foundation for Namibia, Botswana, and Eswatini, who lives by the quality of your thoughts determines the quality of your life.